Jayam Swavam Satsatana Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Kara Vaishnavindra Ki Jai, Namacharya Siddhis Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Jikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Bhuntananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gopaktivinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radhakunda Girirani Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Go Premanandi Hare. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. This morning we're going to speak from Srimad Bhagavatam's 7th canto, 10th chapter, titled Prahlad, the Best Among Exalted Devotees. After Prahlad Maharaj fell at the lotus feet of Lord Nrsingadev, and Lord Nrsingadev picked him up and embraced him, touching his head, imbuing him with all spiritual knowledge, Prahlad began to pray. And the Lord was so touched, so moved by these prayers of this 5-year-old boy who had surrendered at his lotus feet, that he began to offer all kinds of blessings to Prahlad Maharaj. Although Prahlad Maharaj was only a boy, when he heard the benedictions offered by Lord Nrsingadev, he considered them to be impediments on the path of devotional service. Thus Prahlad smiled mildly and spoke as follows: My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I was born in an atheistic family, I am naturally attached to material enjoyments. Therefore, Prahlad said, Please, dear Lord, do not tempt me with these illusions. I am very much afraid of material conditions, and I desire to be liberated from material life. It is for this reason that I have taken shelter at your lotus feet. Generally, for the whole world, attachment to the material body and the extensions of the body is what they think of and what they hope for. This strong attachment to the body and to the extensions of the body is based on lusty desire for sense gratification. When one is attached to sense gratification, in actuality, he becomes bereft of all knowledge. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, those attached to sense gratification are mostly inclined to worship the demigods to procure various material opulences. They are especially attached to worship of the goddess Durga and Lord Shiva, because this transcendental couple can offer their devotees all material opulences. By the grace of Lord Nrsingadev, however, Prahlad Maharaj was detached from all material enjoyment. He therefore took shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and not the feet of any demigod. It is to be understood that if one is really serious to be released from this material world, from the threefold miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, one must worship the Supreme Personality of God. For it is only by the grace of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that one can get release from the material miseries. Atheistic persons are very much attached to material enjoyment. Therefore, if they can get some opportunity to achieve more and more material enjoyment, they take it readily. Although he was born in a materialistic family And because that was the goal of his father and family, he did not want it. Prahlad Maharaj had no material desires. Prahlad said, "O my worshipable Lord, because the seed of lusty desires, which is the root cause of material existence, is within the core of everyone's heart, you have sent me to this material world to exhibit the symptoms of a pure devotee. Otherwise, O my Lord, O Supreme Instructor of the entire world, you are so kind to your devotee that you would not induce him to do something unbeneficial for him. One who desires some material benefit in exchange for devotional service cannot be called a pure devotee. In fact, he is no better than a merchant who wants profit in exchange for his service." Prahlad says, "A servant who desires material profits from his master is certainly not a qualified servant. Similarly, a master who bestows benedictions upon his servant because he desires to maintain a prestigious position as master is also not a pure master." Then Prahlad gives the conclusion. "Oh my dear Lord, I am your unmotivated servant, and you are my eternal master. There is no need of our being anything other than master and servant. You are naturally my master, and I am naturally your servant. We have no other relationship." Knowing this is called Sambandha Gyan. One who knows that he is eternal servant of Krishna and therefore engages in the Lord's pure devotional service without motivation is known as a pure devotee. Notice that Prahlad says, "This is my natural position. And your natural position, O Lord, is to be my master." These positions are not artificial. They're not a mental concoction. They are the actual fact.
ये एक वास्तविकता है.
We are by nature, innately, servants of Krishna. And Krishna is by nature our eternal master. We have no other relationship. And therefore, when one engages in the Lord's devotional service, he attains his natural position and can be happy. The illusions of Maya may appear like happiness, but they are not real happiness. The whole material world seeks after the illusions of Maya, but no one is happy. No one is content. No one is satisfied. No matter how much money a rich man accumulates, he wants more. No matter how much fame a movie star or an athlete acquires, he wants more. Happiness only comes through service to Krishna. There is no other source of happiness. Krishna has created us this way, and we can only be happy when we surrender to him and engage in his loving service. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, "In the same measure that one surrenders to me, I reciprocate with him accordingly." Krishna, I sometimes say, acts like a mirror. You see in a mirror whatever you hold in front of it. In the same way, in whatever way we approach Krishna, he reciprocates accordingly. Therefore, we find that in the court of Kamsa, when Krishna entered, some people saw him as their dearmost relative, like the Yadus and the Vrishnis. The rulers saw him as a most powerful ruler. Everyone saw him through their own eyes differently. Similarly, whether we see Krishna as our lover or as our fierce opponent is due to the way we see Krishna. He is reflected differently according to our desire. Krishna says everything is situated on desire. You have not because you desire not. Therefore, let us be careful what we desire. Let us desire as Prahlad desired. He desired only to be Krishna's eternal servant. So despite the Lord's many, many benedictions offered to Prahlad, he said, I only want to be your eternal servant. Such a pure desire will never be unfulfilled. Any questions?
But here we see that Prahlad renounced these benedictions which are being offered. How is that better than accepting the benedictions and using them in devotional service?
Well, of course, that is also possible. These material benedictions, when seen with the eyes of I want to enjoy, they are creations of Maya. But the same benedictions, when seen, how can I use these in Krishna's service, are seen as gifts from Krishna, by his mercy, by his love. Prabhupada explains that in his purport to this first verse. He says, of course, possessing material opulences is also always fearful, because under the influence of material opulence, one may be misdirected from devotional service. But a pure devotee is never misdirected by material opulence. On the contrary, whatever he possesses, he engages 100% in the service of the Lord. When one is allured by material possessions, they are considered to be given by Maya. But when one uses material possessions fully for its service to Krishna, they are considered God's gifts. Then they are facilities offered by Krishna for enhancing one's devotional service. Any other question?
At the age of 5, Bhakta Prahlad got a darshan of Bhagwan Sri Hare. While we have seen a lot of Rishi Munis, even father of Prahlad himself, Hiranyakashipu, got a darshan after several years of tapasya. So is it because Guruji, Bapuji, ki Bhakta Prahlad got a darshan of Sri Hare at the age of 5 because he had a very plain, innocent mind? And if it is so, what we should do to have that kind of mind, very plain, innocent, unprejudiced?
In short, his question, how can we achieve attitude just like a Prahlad Maharaj?
By following Prahlad's example of surrender. He fell down at the Lord's feet without any desire. He did not offer his surrender with a motive for getting some benediction. Hare